You join me 2 weeks on from Manchester Marathon. I'm in the t-shirt. I'm regularly running again. Let's talk about what went wrong and right on race day. So straight into what went wrong. During the race, I was complaining about hip flexor pain on my right side. I've since been to see a physio, osteopath, and it's a pelvic tilt, a lateral pelvic tilt. So my pelvis has essentially rotated a little bit. If you look at me, or prior to the physio visit, if you looked at me, you would have seen that my hips weren't aligned. They weren't like level. It was visibly tilted. So I think over the course of 2 years now, since the last time I saw a physio, my body has just gradually rotated that pelvis, and it just came to a head on the marathon day at like the 16k point. It just got to the point where that tilt caused pain. And 2 years since the last physio, that shocked me. So what went wrong? Well, I had a pelvic tilt, which caused pain on the right side, and potentially during training, pain on the left side, by everything trying to compensate for it. So I should have seen a physio sooner. They aren't cheap, but when you're pushing mileage like I was, when you're doing silly things like 100 Ks, your body doesn't always respond well to that. So yes, next time if there's a lesson learned, incorporate a physio. Just get it sorted beforehand. If I had been realigned before the race, then it might have gone better. So yeah. The other thing that went wrong, or not to plan, was the lack of a warm-up. I got there early, I got to the start area early, but I underestimated the steps involved, and I had delays at every single point, which ultimately led to no warm-up. Now, a warm-up wouldn't have stopped what happened, but it was unnecessary stress, and yeah, a new process adds some time on because it's not necessarily going to go smoothly, and after so much preparation, why even risk it? Get that warm-up in, get mentally ready. So yeah, next time there's a lesson learned. The only other thing that went wrong, and I wouldn't say for me personally, but for a lot of people, was the heat. Much like today, and those racing in Leeds, Andy, Rich, Mark, good luck. It did get hot, which we had not trained in. Like, it said 20 degrees, which, that's not that hot. But when you are so tuned to lower temperatures, or exerting yourself in those lower temperatures, it's quite a shock to the system to be pushing yourself further than you ever have in training. So it didn't affect me as much because I backed off so early, and I was religiously taking in water, or multiple bottles of water. The heat was a negative factor for many. What went right then? A bloody lot of things. First, the training block. I could not be more happy with the mileage, the long run sessions. I'm just like so happy with how I felt going into the marathon. I felt so prepared. For my 5k races, I didn't think I could hit sub 20. For 10k, sub 42 was always a question. The marathon, that 316, I really thought it was on. And there was no fear. There was respect for the distance, sure, but I was excited to hit halfway, to hit 20 mile, and then think the battle is on. Like, there were times in training where, you know, I was flagging, but I maintained pace, where it got tough. But each long run, I was getting fitter. The intervals were getting longer. And I was ready for a bloody battle. And it just feels like, as cocky as it is to say, I never got to race. It feels like I was up to box and I strained myself climbing into the ring. And there is a disappointment there, if I'm honest. Sure, I got a 20-minute PB. And the sheer amount of training allowed that PB to come, not to be cocky, so easy relative to the previous year when I did sub 4, and it almost killed me off. So it's just, there is disappointment there. The training block, it was killer. And I will be repeating that again. Because of course we're going again, of course we are. It's just a bit disappointing on the day where I felt that niggle early on. And I feel like I never really got to race. But on the bright side, it did come on early enough for me to take it serious and to dial things back and ultimately be running here now and not having to wait a month, plus. If it happened at 20 mile, if it happened at 5k to go, I would have pushed through, and I know I would have done. And who knows what condition I would be in. So what went right, when things did get bad, my pain management, I was on the ball, I used my brain and dialed things back, and ultimately it led to a much more conscious finish. That final 10k, I could actually take in what was going on around me. If I had been pushing, I wouldn't have been taking as much notice of the crowds. I wouldn't have been roaring at them. So I am appreciative of that. 3:38, you cannot grumble. You can't. Something else that went right was the carb load. Ask Jazz, ask my wife, what I was doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And the answer will just be eating. Man was stuffing his face. I hit 900 grams of carbs on every single one of those days. And as tough as it was, as a heavier person, you have to eat more. As tough as it was, I had so much energy. There was zero bonk during the marathon. Zero. And I absolutely will be doing the same thing again. Carb loading. And it is a tough time. It is tough to get it down and find carb-rich things to eat and drink. But worth it on the day just to feel that good. Another thing that went right is caffeine, my nutrition for the run. If you don't know, I feel like I've said it a million times, but I gave up caffeine outside of the long run and races. So come race day, I was ready for that caffeine hit, and it was glorious. So I had 10 gels during that marathon. On the start line, I had my one and only non-caffeinated gel. And then every 20 minutes, I pop that caffeine in, and zero issues, zero toilet issues. And that caffeine just kept me overflowing with positivity, energy. And even when, at 16k, things started to go really not just so negative, I was quick to make a plan, quick to chunk down the course. And I really think if you respond well to caffeine, it's worth playing around with, because as much as I love waking up at 6:15 for my job and having that caffeine hit, I think it's worth the sacrifice, at least for that period, to have such a huge boost on race day. I should also say my pacing strategy, I didn't go out too quick, I kept it all managed, and I set it up nicely for what could have been the perfect race. It didn't go to plan, but again, I will be repeating this strategy and coming back stronger, focusing on getting that strength conditioning in the right places, monitoring my body, and just making sure if there are niggles, go to the physio early rather than paying for more sessions when something goes wrong. The final thing that went right then is the video itself. I managed to capture the bulk of the race on my Insta360, and then we got some janky footage on the iPhone, which kind of worked out. And that video itself, the reception has been so positive and really reinforced the decision I made, because running means more to me than nailing a 316 of, pushing through injury against all odds and then being out for months. It means far too much more. Like, I've had to wait almost 2 weeks to go running again, and that's driven me crazy. So I did make the right choice, and the positive reaction to that video and the comments just gave me a big boost. There will be another race. There'll be so many more races. So yeah, thank you everyone that left a comment, thumbs up that video, subscribed. Very much appreciated. And on the day, it was hilarious. I bumped into so many people that were saying hello, and especially in the down moments where everyone's kind of together. It's a solo race, sure, but it's this community of people pushing themselves further than, most have ever gone before. The vibes are good. So yeah, big thank you to this little community we built. And yeah, on we go. As for what's next, I'll make a video very soon on my plans. But for now, I just wanted to outline what went right, what went wrong, what I'm taking away from that race, and bringing into the future what lessons I learned. If you ran Manchester, attempted to or finished it, congratulations. That's a huge thing. And in those conditions, on that day, with so many people dropping, I just hope everyone is recovering nicely, as it got pretty gnarly towards the end. All that's left for me to say is happy running and goodbye.